What's up, YouTube? Jeff, your Style O.G. And on today's video, I've got my list of the 15 things every man should own by the age of 40. If you're new to the channel, we release a new video every day at 4 p.m. Eastern, discussing various men's lifestyle topics such as style, grooming, and dating. I invite you to subscribe, tap the notification bell, and join us. And to my returning friends, like Derek Jones over in London, salute. Now, of course, when we're talking about things that every guy needs or should have, those can be very relative terms. It can vary from guy to guy, what type of guy you are, and where you happen to be in life's journey. But I do think there are some universal things that all of us men should have. And that's what I want to talk about in today's video. In today's video, I got 15 things every guy should have that will improve your quality of life, help you get things done, and just bring a little bit more joy and happiness to your life. So without any further delay, let's get into my list of the 15 things every guy should have by the age of 40. And by the way, just because you haven't reached 40 doesn't mean you shouldn't already have a lot of these things. First up on that list, I think every guy by the age of 40 should have a watch that means something to them. Now, this can be a vintage watch, it can be an expensive watch, it can be a watch passed down to you. I think a watch that means something to you is a great thing to have. Take, for example, my Mont Blanc Time Walker. This means a lot to me. It was the first watch I ever bought that cost more than $100 or $200. About 15 years ago or more, when I started to make some decent money, I took my time and found the watch I really want. I bought other watches since then, some nicer, some not as nice, but this one always will have value to me, sentimental and otherwise. I definitely think it's a great thing to have a watch that means something to you by the age of 40. Next up on our list of things guys should have by 40, of course, this is a style channel. So this one you should have seen coming. You should have at least one go-to killer tailored suit. Now, what color it is up to you. You want to go with a gray or a navy blue to be on the safe side. And I really don't want to hear anything about, I don't go anywhere that I need to wear a suit. By the age of 40, I hope you're going places that you need a suit. Well-tailored suit is just a mark of a distinguished, mature guy. Something you want to look like by the age of 40. But of course, life isn't always about dressing up. We're men. We gotta work sometimes. That's why I definitely think you gotta have a great pair of work boots. And I'm not talking about work boots you just bought for the style like I did with these Red Wings. I'm talking about work boots you actually work in, beat up, and use. There's so many situations you're gonna find you need a good pair of work boots. Whether it's shoveling snow, whether it's changing your oil, or like I've had to do many times in these boots, helping a friend to move. A good, high quality, durable work boot is a must for any guy, especially by the time you're 40. And since we're talking about working, the next thing you definitely need to have, every guy, no matter what their age is, needs a toolbox. Every man worth his salt should be able to fix a few things. And how are you gonna be able to do it without the proper tools? Now, I don't think you need everything at Home Depot, just a few things. I suggest you at least have a pair of pliers, a hammer, a level, flat tip and Phillips screwdriver, a tape measure, and a cordless drill. If you have those things, you're pretty prepared for almost anything that comes your way. Make sure you have a toolbox. Now, not only do I think every guy should be prepared for any work type situation that pops up, you also should be prepared for an adventure. That's why I always suggest you have a packed overnight bag. You never know when a spontaneous trip might come up. A romantic getaway with that special someone, an impromptu vacation, or a trip with a buddy. A man should be prepared for these situations. This packed weekend bag stays in my closet. If I have a chance for an out-of-the-blue trip or a fun time, I'm ready to go. Speaking of adventures, one of the things you definitely want to have by the age of 40 is a passport, preferably a well-used one. Life isn't just lived in your hometown, your home state, or even your home country. Gotta get out, see the world. A well-rounded man is a traveled man. And of course, you're not gonna be able to go out and see the world unless you have a passport. The more well-used, the better. A man who expands his horizons by traveling the world is a well-rounded, educated, and cultured man. Next up on our list, I think every guy by the age of 40 should have a paper journal. To me, there's just something about writing things down. Not putting them in your phone, not typing them into a computer, writing them down on paper. Whether it's your latest idea or a way to capture your most recent memory. To me, a paper journal is a must. And there's a certain charm in knowing your grandkids one day are going to discover this journal and see all the exciting things their grandfather went through. Speaking of the written word, brings us to the next thing I suggest you have by the age of 40. That's a book collection. Now, one of the things you may or may not know about me, I'm a voracious reader. And to be honest with you, it's helped me acquire so much knowledge over the years. I really attribute reading to give me a well-rounded wealth of knowledge that sometimes you get through osmosis just by reading. Reading expands your vocabulary. It helps you learn from the experiences of other people, whether it's fiction or nonfiction. The type of books are up to you. A couple of my favorites, Style and the Man and Jay-Z Decoded. Very different, but I learned from both. A mature, classic, and well-rounded guy has a book collection. Speaking of timeless and classic, brings us to our next pick on the list. I definitely think by the age of 40, you should have a pair of two of classic sunglasses. Great pair of sunglasses never go out of style, and like I always say, every guy just looks a little bit cooler with a pair of shades. But of course, you want to pick a pair of shades that fits your shape face. Whether it's a pair of aviators, whether a pair of wayfarers, it's going to vary from guy to guy. Now, if you have any questions on what sunglass shape fits your face, I got a video I did a while back telling you how to pick the right sunglasses for your face shape. I'll leave a link in the description. Speaking of classic style, brings us to the next item on the list. Earlier, we talked about having that well-tailored suit. Every guy by the age of 40 definitely should have a tuxedo. Now, like I said earlier, from you guys who say, I don't wear a suit often enough, by the age of 40, you should be going somewhere 2 or 3 times a year that you wear a tuxedo. And there's nothing that looks worse on a guy than a rented tuxedo. And it's not a great investment. You can easily find a nice tuxedo, a classic style, for around $500. You can wear it for decades. Now, of course, that depends on whether your weight fluctuates too much. That's another story. But whether you gotta go to an office party, a holiday party, a wedding, or a banquet, there's a lot of places you should be going by the age of 40 that you have to wear a black tie. Please don't rent. Invest in a nice tuxedo. Now, recently I did a video on the 10 essentials every guy needs in his kitchen. And there's one item on that list that I think every guy definitely should have, especially by the age of 40. You definitely want to have a cast iron skillet. A cast iron skillet is just your do-it-all, durable workhorse piece in your kitchen. You can cook almost anything in it, from meat to eggs and everything in between. And it's gonna last you forever. It's an indispensable essential in the kitchen and something every guy should have, especially by 40. Now, one of the things about getting older, as we get to 40 and beyond, there's gonna be times that are cause for celebration. That's why I definitely suggest you have a great expensive bottle of booze to celebrate life's great adventures. Now, whether you're a Scotch guy, a bourbon guy, or a champagne guy, you want to have that bottle to celebrate life's great achievements. This isn't your ordinary bottle of booze. I want you to splurge, grab something that you know, man, when this happens, I'm breaking out this bottle. Definitely want to have that celebratory bottle of booze waiting for that big event. We're talking about that celebratory bottle of alcohol or your everyday bottle of wine. Please make sure you have some quality wine glass. Please don't let me see you pouring that tasty white into a mayonnaise jar or coffee mug. Get yourself some quality wine glasses, preferably something with a stem and one that curves inward. Helps you take in the aromas or makes you look like you know what you're doing when you're sipping that glass. Next thing a guy definitely should have by the age of 40, I probably should have put this right after a cast iron skillet. You want to have a go-to or two recipe. Now, whether you have to get it from a cookbook, ask someone else to teach you, you want to have 1 or 2 things you can cook up that you're proud of. Having some friends over or that special ladies coming over to the crib. You don't want to be scrambling for something to eat. You want a dish that you're confident in and proud of, and one you can whip up from memory. A guy by the age of 40 definitely should have his go-to recipe. Next up on the list is something that works great for traveling and when you're at home. A guy definitely needs a dop kit. A dop kit is absolutely necessary, in my opinion, for guys of all ages. It can help you arrange your grooming products at home in the bathroom, or even better, helps you take your grooming products with you on the go. It keeps your grooming products together, and it separates it from your clothes when you throw them in a bag. Every man, no matter what the age, but especially by the age of 40, must have a dop kit. Another thing I highly suggest you have by the age of 40, an actual camera. And no, I'm not talking about the camera on your phone. I love the ability to be able to take pictures of great memories, but I don't need something that has a Wi-Fi and a phone connection at the same time. There's nothing more annoying than being in the middle of taking a great picture and the phone rings. On top of that, learning how to use the camera, especially for me, has helped me with creativity, and it's an extra skill. And who knows, you might use that camera to start a YouTube channel. And last but certainly not least on my list of the things every guy should own by the age of 40, I've got something a little bit more utilitarian. You definitely want to have a pocket knife. Now I know it seems pretty simple, but you can't imagine how many times you're going to find a pocket knife coming in handy. Whether it's opening packages or cutting rope to tie something to the top of your car, you will use a pocket knife more than you think. I find myself using mine 2 or 3 times a week. I think it's indispensable. So in my opinion, every guy, especially by the age of 40, needs a pocket knife. Okay, so there you have it, my list of the 15 things every guy should own by the age of 40. Make sure you let me know in the comment sections what you would add or subtract to this list. As always, I hope you enjoyed the video. If so, hit that like button, helps the channel to grow. And of course, tap that notification bell so you don't miss any of the videos we release every day at 4 p.m. Eastern, and I'll check you out.